If you are thinking about starting a AI or a no-code automation agency, I want to share with you just 5 lessons that I've learned from having done this for 5+ years, worked with 100+ businesses at this point. And these are things I wish I knew when I first started because it would have significantly changed the trajectory of how I scaled and grew this business. I'm still working towards my goals, but I would have got there a lot faster. And they were just very important business lessons, specifically about growing this type of business. So the first thing is, yes, you do need to have technical skills. My background originally is in software engineering, so I come from a very technical background. I know how to work with APIs. I've even trained image recognition models way back when it was a lot harder. So I understand the technical skills. And to be honest, if you are getting into this to start a business, to be an entrepreneur, the technical skills don't matter as much as you think, in my opinion, because I have those technical skills, and I'm saying this because when you get very lost in the technical side of things, you start to potentially forget about the other things that are important to actually growing a business, sales and marketing. And these are honestly, I would say, the harder skills of this side of business. Understanding how to present to potential clients and leads, what's the benefit of building these systems? Because that's what they care about is, yes, people are interested in getting onto the train about automation and AI, but they're always thinking they're making a business decision around how is this benefiting my business? Is it saving me time? Is it making me money? That's why businesses do anything, is to save time, make money, cut expenses, i.e. to help the business grow. So I would say don't get too lost in the technical side of things. Yes, you can become known as the expert who builds these crazy cool models and AI automations, but in the long run, what's going to make you more money is if you dial in the sales and marketing side and realize that you can always hire people who are going to be much smarter than you, much better than you at the actual implementation side of things, and potentially a lot more passionate than you about the actual implementation side of things. For me, I know I wasn't super passionate about the implementation, and it was more about the business and how to scale this as a business. And speaking of scale, the second thing is this is a very hard business to scale if everything is custom. I've seen a few other AI no-code automation agency owners speak about this as well. And the thing is, if you do every single project custom, because you're working with different types of clients, you're working with different types of industries, of different company sizes, if every single project is different, you have no foundation to build off for the next client. Every client, you're almost like starting fresh. You have to do the research over again. You don't know what tools are capable of, especially if you're working with new tools each time. You don't know what tools are capable of. You have to do that research. Then you have to plot out the system, what potentially might help them solve the problem. Then you have to go implement. Then you hit roadblocks. And if you do a new system every single time you're working with a new different type of client, this is going to happen. And it's very hard to scale because you need very smart people on your team to then be able to do all these things, because you obviously don't want to be stuck in the implementation. And it makes it very hard as a business owner to scale because you don't know how long projects are going to take. It makes it very hard to consistently price projects. It also ties into things around margins. It makes it very hard to understand what your margins are going to be on the project. So doing everything custom is just not a sustainable model, in my opinion. I mean, people are doing it. It's kind of the same as what software engineering, software development agencies are like, doing custom projects for everyone. But if you are starting fresh every time, it's a very hard business to scale. So ideally, as cliche as it sounds, you are in some way niching down. You are finding a semi-consistent type of client, whether it's industry or company size or the type of systems they need, and you're working on those same projects each time roughly, because then you can build off your previous projects. All that research you did for the previous client, that becomes the foundation for your next project, and then the next project, and they build on each other. So you're climbing on top of your previous work from last time as opposed to starting fresh every single time. This leads naturally into my third point, that in my opinion, again, I could be completely wrong about these things. These are just what I've realized and wish I knew, in that you ultimately need to end up on some type of productized service or delivery. And at that point, you're not really doing consulting. You're not really a freelancer or a consultant or a custom AI agency at this point. Now you're just delivering a product, because if you've niched down to some type of industry, you've found some semi type of consistent delivery of a product, you essentially have a product now. You're selling some type of system that's going to help achieve some type of result. So whether that is like working with med spas or working with accountants, and you are delivering the same type of AI automations for them every time, you have a system now. It's a system with some kind of brand name that delivers a solution to a certain type of client. And this is also great because, again, it becomes some type of brand. You also understand how long each delivery for clients are going to take. You understand what your costs are as a business owner. So that means you can hire people, you can understand your margins. You can actually make this a business as opposed to every single thing being custom. So ideally, as you're working with your clients, you're finding some type of niche or some type of consistent client type that you enjoy working with and you get them great results. And then you're also realizing, oh, we're basically building the exact same type of thing for this client every time. Let's slap that into an actual system, and we are delivering the system that delivers X type of result to that client. And now you have a product that can actually scale. It's not just you building custom solutions every time. It's you're building this system for a client and it gets them that result. And that's really great for also word of mouth and referrals and branding, because you become known as those people who help that certain type of client. The fourth thing is I found it much, much easier to focus on parts of the business that the ROI is much, much more clear. Maybe it's just my sales skills, but I found that when I started to focus more on the sales side of a business, so setting up tools and AI systems and things for the sales reps, things for the sales managers, what happens when we onboard clients, that's all still part of the sales process. I found that made it much, much easier for myself. Maybe it's just a me thing and kind of how it clicks in my mind, but I found it much, much easier to speak then with the business owner in terms of ROI, because you can make it very clear that, hey, look, if we set up some type of AI automated workflow at this part of your business, when leads opt in, now we're nurturing them better. We can measure that now the show up rates for your sales scores are higher. Now you're closing more people without even changing any part of the closing rate. You are making more money. So it's like if they are now selling 1 to 3 extra high ticket clients a month because of the automations you've set up, there's a very clear return on investment. They're making an extra $10,000 or $15,000 a month or whatever the price tag is, and over a year, then your price tag of $5,000 to $10,000 for the setup of the system seems pretty minor. It's a very clear return on investment. When I was, which I still do sometimes, when I was building systems that were just all over the show for different types of businesses, as part of their implementation, as part of like generating reports, which can still be helpful, but it was like, we want to create this random report and it's this random daily task. It was very hard to measure a clear ROI for them. Yes, you can think in terms of hourly time that you're saving. So you can say, okay, your team is now not having to spend 5 hours a week collectively doing these things. What's your average hourly rate? It's I don't know, $100 an hour for the team members. Therefore, you're saving like $2,000 a month. With $100 times by 5 hours times by 4. So you have $2,000 a month essentially and save time. But sometimes you need to do a bit of like mental math to get there. But when it's very clearly around the sales process, as I was saying, it's like we're helping you nurture your leads, we're helping you convert more sales calls, we're helping you get more leads. It's very obvious where that ROI is, and that's so directly attached to money that makes it much easier in my experience just to have those sales conversations. Again, maybe it's just a me thing in my sales skills, but that's what helped me a lot, was to focus on where can I clearly explain the ROI to this client of setting up these systems. And then it's much, much easier to ask for a higher price tag as well. And point number 5, which is the last point for now, is I found it's much easier to sell to people who already understand or who are already interested in AI and automation. There's the whole thing around selling to levels of awareness. I can't remember who originally spoke about it, but it's a marketing thing of selling to levels of awareness. And if you try to sell to people who don't know they have a problem, don't know the solutions that are available, it's hard. You have to be an extremely good marketer to do that, because you have to first drum up to make them realize they have a problem, then to drum up to make them realize that AI or automations is the solution to that problem, and then you have to convince them that you're the right person to do the solution for them. Versus if you are speaking to people or marketing to people who already know about automation, they're already interested in AI or automation, they're interested to get on that train. So they're already sold on the idea, and they already have an idea of what problem is this going to solve for me. Sometimes you have to help them clarify that on sales calls, but they understand they have a problem. They already are interested in this potential solution. Now you're just showing them that you're the best person to do it. You're not having to educate them on the pain and the problem and the solution and all that stuff. You're just educating them on why you're the best person. And obviously that's where marketing like this, videos comes out, showing case studies of projects you've worked on, walking through projects that you've built. And that's where I found also I've got a lot of leads on YouTube from, is just walking through my automation setups. I get a lot of very, very warm leads from that, and they're jump on the call pretty much ready to buy and happy to pay a higher price point because they see I've built these exact systems before and they know I'm the person who can solve that problem. I'm not having to convince them, yeah, we're going to use automation to solve your problem, to do this and that. They already know that's going to solve their problem, and they just see me as the best person to do that. I hope you found those 5 lessons helpful. Again, I've picked up all of these things from my years in the space, and obviously the work and delivery that I've done for clients has evolved over time. But this is where I've ended up now, and these are the realizations I've had. And especially if you want to grow and scale this as a sustainable business and you're not just always doing the implementation, lost in everything, these are the lessons and realizations I've had. So subscribe if you want more of these types of videos. I'm going to keep putting out my experiences, and I'll see you next time.